is fading.
Previously on the quest, we witnessed something none of us had ever seen before in carp fishing. A fish that truly took our breath away, and a memory that will stay with us forever.
My heart is heavy from holding.
Just let me get back. Just look at the length of him.
Ed's week was well and truly made, with 3 stunning fish in the first 48 hours, including the big one. But the rest of us were yet to get off the mark.
Daylight is fading. The leaves have fallen, feeling so cold now.
Little did we know we were to be shocked again later in the week with something even more mind-blowing, and Frank was to show us that location really is everything.
So slowly retracting to only a memory remain. You must go.
We've done 3 nights now, and sadly I've got nothing to report, which is a bit embarrassing because you're supposed to know what I'm doing. But these things happen. It's not an easy place, this. I'd not done much research on it before we came here, and I like to leave it a bit like that because I don't like to be preempted on everything that I do. I like to try and read it when I get there. And I wish I'd have looked into it a bit more, but it is what it is. I went on the 2 bailiffs' advice. I was going to go down the Goose swim, down the other end, Goose Point. I went on a gut feeling that I wanted that swim, and they said, mate, it really isn't the one. We wouldn't have it, you know, right down to 8th choice on a full lake. That'd be the last choice. But I always think, well, I like to go off my gut instinct. But basically, the 2 guys says, mate, really don't do it. And they talked me into going in here. And I thought, if I don't take their advice, because they live here, and I don't do that, and I screw up down there, I'd look a bit of a dick. So I thought, do you know what? Sod it, I'll go there. Anyway, I wish I'd have took my own sort of instinct now. I'm not saying out about them guys, but the fish move around a lot. And we're putting pressure on this sort of 2/3 of the lake, and all the fish have backed off and gone right down that end. So my plan is I've just started seeing a few fish where I am, so I'm in a quandary, but I'm almost certainly going to move and go down either Goose Point or the one opposite, the other point, Heron Point. I'm not familiar with the names and trying to remember them. So Heron Point's had more fish showing in front of it, and yesterday evening, me and the guys had a bit of a barbecue and a get together and discussed proceedings. In the meantime, basically, I was going to move then, but it was too late. And I thought, I'll give it another night here, because Ed had a mega fish yesterday, a nude leather, and right old character. It's one of them with the sort of clam pectoral fins, typical sort of mutation that leathers have, and dark chestnut, mega beautiful fish, massively long as well. And he's opposite me down this end, and you're kind of thinking, Ed's had 3. Me and the other boys haven't caught anything yet. So, but where Ed is actually produced fish last week to the anglers that were on their group. He did most of them there. So, and it's got a bit of form. And we think they're in there because there's a bit of weed in there actually. That's holding him because there's not much weed around the lake anymore. I believe it was quite weedy in the past. So yeah, so I'm gonna move. We've still got 4 nights left, and the bailiffs are telling me that, like many pressured waters, Rainbow and others like this, with a low stock for its size, it quite often doesn't fish till the latter part of the week. You know, typically these big fish waters can the fish are moody, they know new anglers are on, the new line lays, new patches of bait going in. So they can quite often back off the pressure and stay out of the way, and then towards the end of the week they'll start getting a bit, you know, hungry basically, and get their heads down. So that's why they call it Big Fish Thursday, Big Fish Friday. So the bailiffs were saying to me, come Wednesday it should have started picking up, because that's when it starts to follow trends and gets better. So hopefully it will do. But I'll keep you posted anyhow. And I mean, tactic wise, I've tried different things on different rods because I've never fished here before. I didn't want to just sort of put all my eggs in one basket in case I get it wrong on all 4 rods. So I've had a single hook bait on one which I've been roving around. I've tried wafters with a tip with corn with over a fair bit of bait. I've tried one over particles, and another over more boilie with particles, and now I've switched over and fished 2 more on boilies, 2 on a mixture with pellet and that. Nil point, nothing's happened so far. So as I say, I'm going to move, and I'll keep you posted and let you know how the boys are getting on as well. Hopefully, you know, my main aim is, we talked about it yesterday. Before I go, I'll tell you what was happening. You know, some of the guys were saying, wouldn't mind catching a 50 or a PB common and this. My main aim is that all 4 of us catch fish and go home with a smile on our face. I'm not so fussed about the size of the fish. It's just I want us all to have a great time, you know, because it's almost like, I know it's a working holiday, but it is fantastic doing this, you know. And if we all go home with a big smile on our face, that'll do me. Well, as I alluded to earlier, there's just nothing happening here. I'm not prepared to sit any longer and just wait for them to come. There's fish showing at that point over there, diagonally opposite to me. Heron Point, I think it's called. And I'll get mixed up with the bloody swims on here, so you have to forgive us. It's the one nearest the gateway you come in. So it's been left alone over there, and I'm seeing loads of fish. We all did last night when we were having tea, so without further ado, I'm going to pack up and get my backside round there and see if I can catch a few. Also, the other guys seem to think that it'll shove the fish out that are all locked in there and give them more of a chance, so I'm happy to be the instigator of that by catching a few, so give it a crack anyhow.
Frank spent the rest of the day moving into Heron Point after a quiet start to the trip in the Nook swim. He was almost instantly rewarded as the sun was going down, showing that being on the fish is the most important factor in successful carp fishing.
46:12. Mirror just happened just as it's getting dark, sod's law. But it's still got a bit of life in it. Scrap of a lifetime off this thing, it was unbelievable. Yeah, the move paid off, yeah. There we go. Cracker. Just an absolute muscle machine. Fabulous fish. Great nick as well.
The next morning, out of the blue, my fourth rod fished on its own down towards Goose Point absolutely melted off, and the fish quickly found weed, so I took to the boat to try and regain contact with it. Right, so as you might have seen from some of the footage there on the drone, I've just been out in the boat to try and rescue a fish that was stuck in the weed. Been waiting 4 days for that bite, and you know, watching the fish show in and moving the rod onto them. And then I had a liner this morning, so I sort of had a look, and the rod was all sort of just stationary, so I went back to my bivvy and made a cup of tea, and then it absolutely ripped off. A couple of bleeps, and then it was just a one toner, and I got to the rod and the tip was bent right round, so I picked up into it, felt the resistance for a bit, and then it all locked up solid, so there must be some weed between me and the spot. So I got the boat and wound out with the rod, you know, pulled myself towards it and worked my way sort of through different weed beds, finding where the line was going, and finally got to the leader and pulled it up, and I got the rig back. So absolutely gutted. The fish has got to the weed and shed the hook, so at least I got the rig back. I'm not leaving the fish tethered or anything like that. But after 4 days of, you know, hard work and trying to make something happen, that's not the result you want at the end of it all. So anyway, it's one of those things. I'm going to get the rod back out now, and hopefully there's another chance this morning.
Morning. I thought I'd give you a quick update on yesterday's proceedings. What happened was I did 3 nights in a swim called the Nook, and anyway, I decided to move. It was a no-brainer really, so I moved to Heron Point, and I've got a line of snags down here, and they're only about 30-40 yards out. They taper away from you, and we knew there was fish in there. And I shot in there, packed up, and it was roasting. It was one of them where you're thinking, oh my God, you know, but it was worth it. I'd moved within an hour, and basically tried to be as quiet as I can, and got in there, and I felt pretty confident, and I did different things on each rod, because I still hadn't had a bite at this stage, so rather than put the same thing on every rod, it would be sort of foolish to do that in case you're getting it wrong. So I did different presentations on each one. All were boilies on this particular experiment that I did. I did some fluoros, I did wafters with a piece of corn on top, and I tried a stiff hinge rig because Ed had some fish on that, so I thought I'll give that a twirl on one rod just to see, because I don't normally use that much. Just in case I was missing something, I thought I'll give it a twirl. Anyway, I'd been in about an hour and a half and I was locked up solid, and I've got 20-pound line on and strong gear, really strong gear. I've been doing a lot of snag fishing back in England, so I'm well versed with it. You know, I'm couple of bleeps, the rod just arced over, butt ring behind the buzzers with the butt grips on as well, and I was on it in a flash, and then I just walked backwards, and I can't even tell you the scrap I got off this fish. It was ridiculous. I've never seen a fish move so quick and deceive me. I thought it was going to be a low 20, you know, one of them sort of crazy torpedoes. And it moved from one part of the swim right across the tree line as I was walking back like a rocket, and I had the other rods out, so I was passing the rod under the other lines. Anyway, I had a mental battle. It lasted for about 15 minutes. Anyway, when we got it in the net, it suddenly grew, because I thought it was an upper 20 or something. In the water, it fooled us all. It didn't look that big, or a low 30. And we got it on the scales and it was 46.12. So that's a nice start really, and very encouraging after a move like that, so it was all worthwhile. And I'm feeling pretty confident. I've got fish in the area, and I'm just going to try and be quiet now and see what I can get from the last 3 nights and days. And hopefully I can turn it round. And you know, my main concern is that we all catch. That's always been in my mind. It's all to play for. We start getting bites. The latter half of the week's usually much better, and I think we're going to turn it round and do good. And I've got a feeling we're going to get a lump between us. I can't say who's going to get it. I have these little premonitions, but I've just got a feeling that we're going to get a real good fish. So I hope that comes true. Had this one, probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, boiling sun. It's £30, 14 ounces. But happy with it, you know, it doesn't matter about the size, nice looking fish. It thinks it's in swimming mode at the moment. Had it on the same setup as I rounded on it actually. I had the bite on what I thought I'd have the bite on. Yesterday I had 4 different things on. So I switched every rod to the winning formula. And anyway, it came from the same spot, so it's probably more of a spot thing than what I'm using. So yeah, it's quite chuffed with that one. So right, I'm going to put him back now. The other thing I was going to mention, by the way, is I've cut the bait right down. I think these fish are so pressured that big baited areas can be okay sometimes, but generally not the one. I've cut it right down. I've been using some boilies and probably a handful maximum. A little tiny bit of sweet corn, a little tiny bit of pellet, and that's it. Round each up bait. So there we go. Let it go.
It's now Wednesday and it's been 48 hours since my last bite. I very much was in pole position when we got here. There was a lot of fish in that bay there, and we'd seen a few fish up this margin here. But the situation is pretty much most of the stock of the lake has moved up there, up to that top end. Basically, it was vacant from lines since we got here. We opted not to fish up the top end because there's only 4 of us trying to control 20 acres. So we all kind of concentrated on this sort of 3/4 of the lake. But you know, fish aren't daft, so they've all moved up there. But luckily, Frank's moved in after them last night and pretty much picked up a fish straight away, which was great. He's had another one as well this afternoon, and Simon's lost one. So the fish are concentrated very much up there at the minute, but I'm hoping they're going to get a couple more bites up there, and the fish are going to start to feel the pressure and come back down the lake, in which case it gives Ben a chance in the middle section of the lake, and hopefully it'll force the fish back down onto me again, and hopefully I might get another chance before I go. I've got another 3 nights, so 2 full days to pick up a bite. But if I don't catch another fish, I'm not complaining. That leather was an absolute stunner. I really like that fish. I know it's not the biggest fish in the lake, and it's not the 50 I was after. I know it's a few ounces shorter, but it was still a cracking looking fish. And this is the rig I caught it on. Pretty much a standard rig for me. It's a coated braid with a little bit stripped back, and then a kind of bristle filament, chod filament, very aggressive turn to a size 6 hook, and a little cell. Well, say little, it's a 14mm, 15mm cell pop-up, and that just sits nicely like that. And that's what's done me all for 3 fish really. The first 2 was on a yellow bait, an essential cell, and this was like a washed out cell. So different bait, same rig's done all the fish for me. The problem I've been having is that my hook points have been going rusty. I'm an avid sharpener of hooks. I really believe that a sharpened hook will outfish a non-sharpened hook in a lot of cases. Because I've been sharpening a hook, I managed to lose my little tub of Vaseline that I've got, where I just blobbed the hook point just to stop the moisture getting to it and stop it rusting. So I went to the supermarket yesterday to pick up some more supplies, and I managed to get some Vaseline, so that stopped the hook rusting too much, which is one of the problems I was having a lot. You know, even when I had that 49, I pulled the hook out and it had gone rusty already, so I was quite lucky to get that fish. So now I've got the hook points done with a little tip of Vaseline. Just recast them now after 24 hours in the water, and there's no rust whatsoever, so that seems to be working. So I'm hoping that I've got all 4 of my rods fishing quite nicely. So as I said, I've got one in that bay there where I've had the 2 bites from. My right on rod out here behind me, that did the 49. There's another rod up next to it on kind of a big gravel barry spot. So the 49's on top of the rod I had the 49 from's on top of the gravel bar, very much tappy in the sort of shallow water as it, well, I say shallow water, it's 12 foot as it comes up. And then the middle rod, as we look at it there, is just off the bar, sort of further along it as it comes down into the silt, and that's fishing a snowman rig. Then I've got the left hand rod there, and I've just kind of fished that about 80 yards where I saw a fish on the second day. Now I could fish it long towards Harrison's, which is a known spot, and I've seen a few fish show sort of 40 yards off there a couple of days ago, and I'm told that's a real hot area. But I don't want to push a long line across there and cut off this bay where I've had 2 fish. So should these fish decide they're coming back down the lake, I want them to funnel back down the lake and then into this bay, and hopefully pick a few fish up. And if not, they've got a comfort zone across there where there's no lines in the water. And again, if they can stay there and congregate there and just drift over to me, then hopefully I might pick a few up that way. I just worry if I put long lines in, it might force them back up that end or force them into that bay where no one's fishing. So yeah, it's more a case of that I'm very hopeful at the minute because there's next to nothing out in front of me. So I'm just hoping that the guys up there bounce them back down, Ben picks a couple up on the way down, force them down to me, and I'll pick up another fish or 2 before the session ends. But yeah, like I said, happy with that 49 leather if I don't.
Well, absolutely devastated. Yeah, literally, obviously I've had nothing all week waiting. And it's out of the blue really. It's what, 10 past 11. So the take was probably 10 minutes ago. Absolutely, just one toner. Sort of hit into it and it's just been kiting. I could feel it. And then it's gone straight into some weed. I don't think there's nowhere near as much weed as there used to be in here, but they obviously know where the patches are. A lot of it's sort of coming to the top as well. But yeah, it's gone straight into the weed, just steady pressure was coming through, ever so slowly just coming through. I couldn't really feel it, I just, you know, just felt the weight there. And then there was literally a big eruption on the top, and I think the fish has come through the weed, the lead had come off, and I think as it's erupted on the surface, it's just ditched the hook. Just a little bit of fake corn, sort of multi-combi rig. And like genuinely, I can't remember the last time I lost a fish on this rig. And it's just let me down. So yeah, just devastated. Finally get a chance, and yeah, similar to Si, you know, it's gone into the weed and done ya. But we go again, get him out there, and hopefully we get another chance.
£38 this one, 38.2 I think it was, yeah. So yeah, it's as I said earlier, I changed, once I found the winning formula, I changed everything to all, you know, on the other rods, and I've had 2 more since then, so it's picked up a bit, but I suspect, you know, the fish are there, they're in the snags, and I'm just lucky to be in the swim, to be fair. So yeah, because no matter what the weather is, the fish always visit snags, I found. Certainly in this hot weather, they like the shade, because they haven't got eyelids, and sometimes it's a bit bright for them, and they always go and get under the bushes, under pads. So yeah, beauty though, eh? Head chuff with that one. So, spin it round. There we go. Got a quirky little dorsal on it, this one. And pointed tails, these fish as well. The ones at home that I'm fishing for at the moment, the big commons there, they've all got very rounded tails. Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, you can feel it on the trees now, pressure change. Right. How about the old Jack Hilton style? Beautiful, eh? I'm not into this kissing that seems to be the trend at the moment. Yeah. Hey?
I was just thinking that he's going to give it a kiss.
Nah. A bit old-fashioned, me, like, you know.
That night, we heard the sad news that after a short battle with illness, Frank's mother-in-law Rita had passed away. We shared a few drinks in her honour, and Frank let on about a premonition he'd had. Basically, he said he was going to catch one of the big ones and dedicate the capture to her memory. We all thought he'd maybe had one too many whiskies.
Well, afternoon guys. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, 1:30, and it's Thursday, and we've got tonight and Friday night left, so the time's ticking away. What happened was I had that lovely common yesterday that was 38.2 I think it was, and it kind of made a bit of disturbance. I wasn't expecting anything last night, and then well, I'll tell you what exactly, it was 17 minutes past 6 this morning. We'd had a few beers to celebrate, and I couldn't sleep very well, because when you're snag fishing, you just can't sleep. It's so weird, you're on edge all the time, especially locked up solid at close quarters like this, and it's sort of a bit hairy, you know. Anyway, everything's gone according to plan. I've landed everything and booked. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I had a rod in open water because there was fish showing out there, and I thought I'll give it a go. I'll stick one there, and exactly 17 minutes. I was looking at my watch. It rode off, and had a mega battleic white, one of my other rods out actually, and had a 30-pound 10 common, and I put it back straight away. I couldn't unfortunately get it on film, but I took some selfies with it, rattle a few off and then put it back. And for sure, one thing to remember if you ever come to this lake is not to go too crazy with the bait. I mean, you can by all means do a baited area on 1 or 2 rods, but my advice would be to go really quite light with it. You're fishing for a bite, you know, so the quantity's reduced for me has done the bites. The fish are super cautious. You can tell they've been pressured. So fresh patches of bait out there, no matter what the bait is, it's just not the one, unless they're going really crazy, and then you can build on it. But to start off with putting a lot in, I really wouldn't do it. So just bear that in mind if ever you come to this venue. And which place? The same rule of thumb for most waters really. I can't think of anywhere I've been where you can just absolutely turn up and fill it in and then it's like bang, unless the stock's crazy. Yeah, we're in the middle of doing an update, me and Ben, and snag rod's gone locked up solid. So a bit fortuitous. It has been bite time in the afternoons, definitely. It's been brilliant. So oh, Jesus, powerful fish. It's got some grunt on it, this one. Jesus Christ. Just dead slow and powerful. I mean, these are pokey rods, these, and it's properly denying me. Wow. Awesome. This is what it's all about, guys. You don't even want to see the stumps that I can see down here. It's terrifying. Big tree stumps on the bottom. It's not a bad one. Interesting. I think it might be a common. Got a bit of a glimpse of it. Jesus. Oh, Christ, power. Proper arm-aching battle, this one. Hey. Just when you think it's getting a bit tired, it suddenly gets another. Ooh, bugger. Slammed its tail on the line then. Oh my God, fathers. I'm proper in my pants now. It's obviously I know what it is. give up. Oh, it's a big fish, that is. Oh yeah, it's huge. Well, it's a 60 all day, if not bigger. Yeah, it's huge. Massive fish. This is for Rita. I really can hardly speak, really, because I'll probably explain why in a bit. This is my premonition. Yeah, it's massive, isn't it?
Look at the size of that head.
I know, it's huge. My premonition, what did I tell you? My mother-in-law, I can't speak. You'll have to say it, I can't say it.
Your mother-in-law?
She died last night, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, yeah, we had a drink to her, didn't we? And now it's just reward for all that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Something's meant to be on.
Yeah. Shit. I'm lost for words, actually. It's not like me as well. So, wow. PB French fish. And I'm going to dedicate this to the memory of my mother-in-law who passed away last night, Rita. And I did predict this was going to happen, and it's happened. So here's to Rita. Lots of love. Fantastic. Oh, I've got to put it down. Beautiful fish, mega fish. Jesus. Not often in a lifetime you get something like this, really. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have been around a long time, so I've been doing it a while. But, fantastic. Oh wow, look at that. Magnificent creature. Beautiful. Yeah, it's just, I'm overwhelmed, if you want the truth. You know, it's all I'd like to say. Oh shit! Sorry about that. Well, that's that going back, isn't it? Never mind, that could be.
Well done, mate.
Smashing. Thanks. Cheers, everyone. Lovely.